TS of monocot root. TS of monocot root transverse section of monocot root. Generally, monocot root is fibrous root system is present. Fibrous root system. This is monocot root. Fibrous root system is present. Fibrous root system. Okay, monocot root system. TS of monocot root. Transverse section of monocot root. For example, normally monocot stem fibrous roots are present. All are similar size of roots are present. For example, transverse section of monocot root. Generally, outermost layer is called epidermis part. Some epidermis. Epidermis region, small hair-like structures are present. This is called root hairs. Hair-like structures are present. This is called root hairs. Root hairs. Next one, second part is called cortex part. The zone is called, entire part is called cortex region. Entire this one is called cortex region. Cortex part. Cortex region. Next one, innermost part of the cortex is called endodermis part. Endodermis part. Next one, stele. Stele internally, pericycle. Pericycle. This is called pericycle. Pericycle part. Next one, vascular tissue. Vascular tissue means this is xylem cells. Xylem tissues are present. Xylem and phloem tissues. Phloem tissues. This is xylem. Next one, internally phloem. These are phloem, xylem and phloem. Phloem tissues. Phloem tissue is present. Phloem tissue is present. Center one is called pith part. Pith part. First one. Spot, outermost part is called epidermis. Epidermis. epidermis part. Outermost protective part is called epidermis part. Epidermis part. Epidermis. Second part, this is called cortex. Cortex part. Part name is called cortex. Cortex part. Cortex part. Next one, endodermis. Endodermis part. Endodermis part. Next one, still this is called pericycle. Pericycle. Pericycle part. Next one, innermost part, this is vascular bundle. This is xylem tissue. Xylem tissue part. Xylem tissue. And this part is called phloem. Phloem part is present. So, transverse section of monocot root. This is a ground plan diagram. Outermost part epidermis, second cortex, endodermis, pericycle, and vascular tissues are present, xylem and phloem. Okay, parts of monocot root. First one is epidermis. Epidermis part. Epidermis part. Epidermis. Second one is cortex. Cortex part. Cortex. And third one is endodermis. And steel. Steel, it can be divided into three parts. One is pericycle. Pericycle, vascular tissue, and pith. Spots present in transverse section of monocot root. Epidermis, epidermis part, cortex part, endodermis part, steel. Steel divided into pericycle, vascular bundle, and pith part. First of all, structure of epidermis. This is structure of epidermis. Epidermis part. Epidermis. Epidermis is multicellular uniseriated structure. Epidermis. Multicellular uniseriated structure. Root epidermis made up of multicellular uniseriated structure. This is epidermis. Transverse section. This zone. Zoom with this areas. Zoom with in this areas. Zoom with in this area. Okay, extension this one. Epidermis part. Epidermis made up of multicellular uniseriated structure is present. Epidermis made up of multicellular. Epidermis made up of multicellular uniseriated structure. Multicellular uniseriated structure. Epidermis made up of multicellular uniseriated structure. multicellular uniseriated structure. Epidermis made up of multicellular uniseriated structure. Some epidermal cells extend into outside. Some epidermal cells extend into outside. Some epidermal cells extend into outside. That is called root hair part. This is called root hair. Some epidermal cells extend into outside. That is called root hair part. Root hair part. Some epidermal cell extend into outside. That is called root hair. Root hair. Hair part. This is called root hair. Root hair. Some epidermal cell extend it outside, that is called root hair. Next one, root epidermis surface region, stomata, cuticle layer, all are absent. Stomata, cuticle layer, all are absent. This part is called epidermis part. This is part name is called epidermis part. Epidermis. Epidermis part. Part name is called epidermis part. Next one, second part is a cortex region. Cortex made up of parenchymatous tissue, multicellular, uniseriated structure. These are made up of cortex. Cortex made up of multicellular, uniseriated structure. Multicellular, uniseriated structure. These are made up of many cells. Many cells. Multicellular uniseriated structure. Multicellular uniseriated structure. Many cells made up of number of cells. Multicellular uniseriated structure is present. Cortex made up of multicellular uniseriated structure. This is cortex. Next one, this part cortex is called cortex. Cortex made up of parenchymatous tissue. Root cortex made up of parenchymatous tissue. Root cortex made up of parenchymatous tissue. Next one, innermost part of cortex. Innermost part of the cortex is called endodermis. Endodermis part. Innermost part of the cortex is called endodermis part. This is endodermis part. Innermost part of the cortex is called endodermis. This is endodermis. Innermost part of the cortex is called endodermis. Endodermis internally suberized bonds are present. Suberized bonds. Endodermis internally suberized bonds are present. Lignosuberized bonds are present. That bond's name is called Casparian strips. Endodermis internally lignosuberized bonds are present. That is called Casparian strips. Casparian strips. Endodermis internally lignosuberized bonds are present. That is called Casparian strips. Casparian strips main function prevention of leakage water from steel to cortex region. This is Casparian strips are present. Casparian strips. Casparian strips internally Casparian strips are present. Casparian strips main function prevention of leakage water from steel to cortex region. Next one, cortex root hairs unicellular structure. Epidermis is a multicellular uniseriated structure. Multicellular made up of many cells. Multicellular uniseriated structure. Some epidermal cell extend into outside, that is called root hair. Root hairs are unicellular exogenous structure is present. Next one, root epidermis surface region, stomata cuticle layer is absent. Stomata cuticle layer is absent. Below epidermis, that part is called cortex. Cortex made up of multicellular multiseriated structure. Cortex made up of multicellular, these are made up of many cells. Cortex made up of multicellular multiseriated structure. multicellular multiseriated structure. Cortex made up of multicellular multiseriated structure. Cortex made up of multicellular multiseriated structure, mainly made up of parenchymatous tissue. Next one, intercellular spaces are present. Next one, generally root hair absorbing water molecule enter into within the cell transport. Within the cell's transport is called symplast transport is present. Symplast transport. Symplast transport is present. This is called symplast transport. Symplast transport. Symplast transport is present. Next one, through gaps, water molecule move within the gaps. Within the gaps, this transport is called apoplastic transport. Two ways, water, outside water means soil water enter into inside of endodermis. Two methods, one is symplast transport, other one is apoplast transport. Apoplast transport. Apoplast transport. Symplast transport, other one is apoplast transport. Apoplast transport. Apoplast transport. Apoplast transport is non-living transport. Symplast transport is living transport. Symplast transport is living transport. Next one, second part, epidermis, cortex. This part is called endodermis part. Endodermis part. Endodermis part. Epidermis, multicellular uniseriated structure. Epidermis is multicellular uniseriated structure. Multi means many cells. Multicellular uniseriated structure. Single layer, outermost protective layer. Epidermis, another name is called epiblemma also. Epidermal cells, some cells extension, that is called root hair part. Root hair part. Next one, below epidermis, largest part is called cortex. Cortex made up of parenchymatous cells. Next one, innermost part of the cortex is called endodermis. Endodermis is a single layer structure. Single layer structure. Endodermis internally suberized bonds are present, that is called Casparian strips. Casparian strips main function, prevention of leakage water from steel to cortex region. Next one, soil water enter into steel. Two method, one is apoplast transport, other one is symplast transport. Apoplast transport is non-living transport. Symplast transport is living transport mechanism. Next one, below endodermis region, first part is called stele. First part is called stele. The stele name is called pericycle. Part name is called pericycle. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. This pericycle made up of, arranged in 2 to 3 rows. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Made up of parenchymatous tissue. First part of the stele is called pericycle. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Pericycle main function, lateral roots formation, lateral conduction. Lateral roots formation, lateral conduction. Pericycle main function, lateral roots formation and lateral conduction. Lateral roots formation. Pericycle function, lateral roots formation and lateral conduction. Dicot pericycle. Dicot pericycle involve in secondary growth and development, but monocot pericycle do not involve in secondary growth and development. Next part is called vascular bundle. This vascular bundle, vascular tissue, radial vascular bundle is present. Xylem and phloem arranged in alternate manner. This is xylem vessels, xylem tissues, sequence order xylem, protoxylem present outside, metaxylem present inside. Protoxylem outside, metaxylem present inside. In this case, okay, this is metaxylem. This one is protoxylem. Protoxylem pouch. Next one, internally phloem tissues are present. This one, phloem tissues. This tissue is called phloem tissues. Phloem tissues. Phloem. Xylem and phloem arranged in alternate manner. Xylem and phloem arranged in alternate manner. This is called radial vascular bundle is present. Radial vascular bundle. Radial vascular bundle is present. This is internally radial vascular bundle, or another name is called alternate vascular bundle. This is phloem tissue. Phloem tissue. Phloem tissue. This tissue name is called phloem tissue. This phloem tissue name is called phloem tissue. Phloem tissue and xylem. Phloem xylem. Phloem xylem. Phloem xylem. Phloem xylem. Phloem xylem. Phloem xylem. Arranged in one particular sequence order, this vascular bundle name is called radial vascular bundle. What type of vascular bundle? Radial. Radial vascular tissue is present. Radial vascular tissue is present. Next one, or another name is called alternate vascular bundle. Next one, protoxylem present outside, metaxylem present inside. This condition is called exarch condition is present. Exarch condition. Exarch xylem vessels are present. Next one more important thing. Xylem and phloem separated by one tissue is present. This tissue name is called conjunctive tissue is present. Conjoint tissue. Conjoint tissue is present. Xylem and phloem separated by one tissue is present. The tissue name is called conjoint tissue. Conjoint tissue is present. Conjoint tissue is present. Conjoint. Next one, xylem vessels more than 6. This condition is called polyarch condition is present. Polyarch xylem vessels are present. Polyarch xylem vessels are present. Polyarch xylem vessels are present. Polyarch xylem vessels. Polyarch xylem vessels are present. Radial vascular bundle, exarch condition, polyarch xylem vessels are present. Radial vascular bundle, exarch condition, polyarch condition is present. Next one, center part. This is called is pith part. This area is called pith part. Center part name is called pith. This part name is called pith part is present. Pith part is present. This is monocot root, transfer section of monocot root. Monocot root, main parts. This is monocot root structure. monocot root. First one, first part, epidermis part. Epidermis, only root hairs only present, epidermis, root hair, root hairs only present, and stomata cuticle layer absent, stomata cuticle absent, stomata and cuticle is absent, stomata and cuticle is absent. Second part name is called cortex. Second part name is called cortex. Cortex it can be divided into, cortex it's divided into mainly made up of cortex majorly spot is called cortex part made up of parenchymatous tissue. Cortex made up of parenchymatous tissue. The largest part is called a cortex. Next one, endodermis. Endodermis part. Endodermis internally Casparian strips are present. Endodermis, root endodermis internally Casparian strips. Casparian strips are present. Casparian strips main function prevention of leakage water from steel to cortex region. Okay, these are Casparian strips are present. This Casparian strips main function prevention of leakage water from steel to cortex region. Next part, vascular tissue means steel part. Steel it can be divided into three parts: pericycle, pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. This pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Main function lateral roots formation and lateral conduction. Pericycle main function lateral roots formation and lateral conduction. Next part, okay, epidermis outermost part and cortex location present between epidermis and endodermis middle part. Okay, epidermis and endodermis middle part is called cortex. Next one, endodermis location outside steel, inside cortex, that part is called endodermis. Endodermis made up of Casparian strips. Casparian strips main function prevention of leakage water from steel to cortex region. Next one, steel it can be divided into three parts: pericycle, vascular tissue, and pith part. Three parts are present: pericycle, vascular tissue, pith part. This is pith part. For example, this vascular bundle, first one, pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Pericycle main function lateral roots and lateral conduction. Monocot root pericycle not involved in secondary growth and development. Secondary growth and development. Next one, vascular tissue. Radial vascular bundle is present. Radial vascular tissue is present. Radial vascular bundle, or another name is called alternate vascular bundle. Why alternate vascular bundle? Xylem, phloem, xylem, phloem, xylem, phloem, xylem, phloem, xylem, phloem, xylem, phloem. This vascular bundle name is called alternate vascular bundle. Next one, this vascular tissue is radial vascular bundle. Root characteristic feature, radial vascular bundle. Dicot root, radial vascular bundle is present. Monocot root also internally radial vascular bundle is present. Next one, exarch condition root. Exarch condition. Exarch condition means protoxylem towards of exarch condition. Exarch condition. Exarch condition means protoxylem towards or outside, metaxylem towards of inside. This is protoxylem. Protoxylem towards of completely outside. Protoxylem towards of peripheral region. Metaxylem towards of inside. This condition is called exarch condition. Protoxylem towards of outside. Metaxylem towards of inside. Protoxylem towards or outside. Metaxylem towards of inside. That condition is called exarch condition. Protoxylem towards of outside. Metaxylem towards of inside. This condition is called exarch condition. Exarch condition. Exarch condition is characteristic feature of roots. Exarch condition is characteristic feature of roots. Next one, polyarch condition is present. Polyarch condition. Polyarch condition. Polyarch condition means one or more xylem vessels are present. One or more xylem vessels are present. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. One or more xylem vessels are present. That condition is called polyarch condition. Polyarch condition. Polyarch condition present in monocot root characteristic feature. Polyarch condition is monocot characteristic feature. Next one, tetrarch condition is dicot root characteristic feature. Next one, and pith is present. Pith is present. These are TS of monocot root structure, transfer section of monocot root structure. Next one, monocot root and dicot root difference. Monocot root and dicot root difference. This is dicot root. For example, this is dicot root. Dicot root vascular bundle. Only tetrarch xylem vessels are present. Tetrarch xylem vessels are present. This is tetrarch. 4 xylem vessels are present. Only 4 xylem vessels. Tetrarch condition is present. Tetrarch condition is present. But monocot root, polyarch xylem vessels are present. Polyarch xylem vessels. Polyarch xylem vessels are present. Polyarch means one or more xylem vessels. 1, 2, 3. One or more xylem vessels are present. One or more xylem vessels. Polyarch condition. Polyarch condition. Polyarch xylem vessels are present. Polyarch xylem vessels are present. Polyarch xylem vessels. In this case, tetrarch condition, polyarch condition is present. Polyarch condition is present. Next one, this is phloem. Phloem part. Phloem part. This is phloem. Phloem part. Next one, xylem and phloem separated by cambium is present. Xylem and phloem separated by, and conjunctive tissue is present. Conjunctive tissue is present. This is conjunctive tissue. Conjunctive tissue. Xylem and phloem connecting tissue is called conjunctive tissue is present. This is dicot root, TS of dicot root. This is TS of monocot root. Monocot root. Difference. For example, tetrarch xylem vessels are present. Tetrarch xylem is present. This reason polyarch xylem vessels. Polyarch xylem tissue. Polyarch xylem is present. Next one, tetrarch xylem vessels, polyarch xylem vessels are present. Tetrarch xylem vessel, polyarch xylem vessels. Next one, reduced or small pith is present. Small pith is present. Pith present, and large pith. Large pith is present. Pith is present. And pericycle used for secondary growth and development present in secondary growth and development present. Secondary growth is present. Secondary growth present. Secondary growth absent. Secondary growth, secondary growth is absent. Secondary growth. Growth is absent. Pericycle involved in secondary growth present, secondary growth absent. Pericycle involved in differentiation process. Pericycle do not involve in differentiation process. This is the most important. Tetrarch xylem vessels and polyarch xylem vessel. Tetrarch means only 4 xylem vessels are present. 4 xylem vessels means 1, 2, 3, 4. Tetrarch condition is present. Polyarch 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Polyarch xylem vessels are present. Small pith is present. Large pith is present. Secondary growth and development is present. Secondary growth and development absent. Secondary growth and development absent. These are different. Remaining all are common points. Epidermis and cortex, endodermis, and is common point in dicot root and monocot root. Major difference dicot root and monocot root. Polyarch, tetrarch condition, polyarch. Dicot root, xylem vessels, tetrarch condition. Monocot root, polyarch condition. Small pith is present, large pith is present. Secondary growth and development is present. Secondary growth and development absent. This is different between next one, small pith and large pith. Pericycle involved in secondary growth and development. This pericycle involved in secondary growth and development. Pericycle not involved in secondary growth and development. Okay, these are structure of transverse section of monocot root. TS of monocot root. First, monocot root system, fibrous root system. Okay, ground plant structure, outermost part epidermis, and second part cortex, endodermis. Next one, steel internally, pericycle, vascular bundle, and pith. One part. This reason I will zoom with this area. Protect outer part is called epidermis. Epidermis is multicellular uniciliated structure. Some epidermal cells extend into outside, that is called root hair. Below epidermis, that part is called cortex. Innermost part of the cortex is called endodermis. Next part is called stele. stele, pericycle, vascular bundle, and pith is called stele. Pericycle, vascular bundle, pith is called stele part. First part is called pericycle. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Next part is called vascular bundle. Vascular bundle is alternate vascular bundle, xylem phloem, xylem phloem, xylem phloem arranged in alternate manner. This is called alternate or radial vascular bundle. And polyarch condition, many xylem vessels are present. This is called polyarch condition. Exarch condition, protoxylem outside, metaxylem inside. This is called exarch condition. Next one, large pith is present. This is dicot root structure. Okay. Epidermis, surface and root hairs are present. Stomata cuticle absent. Next part is called cortex made up of parenchymatous tissue. Endodermis, internally Casparian strips are present. Casparian strips main function, prevention of leakage water from stele to cortex region. Stele divided into three parts, pericycle, vascular bundle, pith. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Monocot stele, pericycle do not involve in secondary growth and development. Monocot pericycle do not involve in secondary growth and development. Pericycle made up of parenchymatous tissue. Pericycle function, lateral roots and lateral connection. Vascular tissue, xylem and phloem is called vascular tissue. Radial vascular bundle, exarch condition, polyarch condition is present. Large pith is present. Okay. Monocot root is completed.